Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we're going to be cleaning up a box of vintage Star Wars and related paperbacks and some hardbacks in fact. So sit back, relax and let's get to it. Okay then, so I am in the process of selling off my vintage Star Wars collection, and the time has come to at least attempt to get the books shifted, and there's an awful lot of them, and all the ones that are in sort of the office where my wife works, the larger format Star Wars books, have already all been cleaned, but I neglected and have overlooked completely the pile, the shelf load that I had in my main sort of paperback collection. So this is the original Star Wars adaptation. This is the book club, the science fiction book club version. This is a little leaflet from August 77. This is quite nice because it's got some really cool stuff inside and quite a bit on Star Wars. So, yeah, very, very nice to have that with it. But the book itself, if you have a look at that. It's just not gone through the process. So that's what we're going to be doing now. All of these are going to be having the look over. Some of the paperbacks, in fact, are very, very rough indeed. And I'm only really keeping them in terms of completeness more than anything else. Yeah, that's made a huge difference already. Now, inside it shouldn't be too bad. But a lot of my hardbacks, because they've been in my collection literally for decades, and they've just never, not once, had the cleaning. So that's what we're doing today. So we'll slide that back inside because it does sort of come with the book. With regards to the dust wrapper, it's not bad, but it is indeed going to need a bit of a clean. So what we're going to do with these as we go along, we're sort of going to clean as we go, if that makes sense. So got my duster here. I got my new thing of Mr. Sheen. Spray some into the cloth as we usually do. And we're just going to go through, rather than like do all the polishing at the end. We're just going to do it as we go along. Because some books will need some extra attention. This one, for example, was hardly pristine, but it definitely needed it. It wasn't too bad, actually. But the actual dust on it was severe, wasn't it? There we are. I think that's okay. And I think that's how we're going to play it. We'll just sort of do the books as we go along. And so there's quite a few to get through. My Star Wars collection, and this is only vintage stuff. You won't find anything here past 1994. And it is predominantly vintage, was fairly extensive. So there's quite a lot. There's also quite a lot of foreign books like this, which is the Star Wars, the original movie adaptation. Again, this is a French one, Sovereign. And once again, we'll just do the edges. But this has got what's known as laminated boards. So they're illustrated, but they're also laminated. So we're good to go by putting the spray straight on. That's not going to hurt in the slightest way, but it will bring it up nice and clean. I have to admit, I was trying to look some of these up yesterday online to give me a bit of an idea about what they should be selling for. And I have to say, I came up a blank in a lot of cases. I like to have an idea at least of what something's likely to sell for before I actually put it up for sale. But because I'd never, in all these years, I picked the stuff up, but I'd never ever considered selling it. Consequently, I didn't, I haven't kept an eye on any sort of pricing at all. So some of it I know is just going to be very cheap and cheerful. Other bits, who can tell? I mean, I might be really surprised, but that's come up lovely, hasn't it? That's come up really, really quite bright, that one. It's just got a faded spine, but apart from that, it's a pretty nice example, that one. Amazing, isn't it? What a bit of what a bit of polish would do. So something like that, I don't know, I would expect it to be £15 to £20 for the first French hardback of it, but this is merely a guess. Here's the French for French adaptation for Empire Strikes Back. But what I'm going to do, there's so many Star Wars books that I'm going to list them in a couple of batches, I think. So I'm going to do all of these that we're seeing today, plus the first sort of wedge of larger format books, and then we'll take it from there. And then there we are. Beautiful artwork on that one. So yeah, so this was not a planned video. I thought we were about to do the next part of the penguins or pelicans, but yeah, it just shows what can happen. You never can tell. Now I'm looking in that bottom corner there where there is some sticker marks, and it may be the case where we spray some polish on rather, and then leave it to work for a little bit and come back to it. That may be what we have to do. Yes, okay. So, a little bit up there. We'll just leave that and go on with the next one, which is another science fiction book club hardback, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. This was Alan Dean Foster. Once again, horrific. I mean, look at that. Look at it. Don't look at it. It's too embarrassing. Yeah, these completely slipped under the radar, didn't they? I would have done these ages back if I'd have known that they are in such a state, but it has meant that we can go back and revisit something a little bit more unusual from the aside from the main collection, you know, which sometimes isn't a bad thing, is it? Wrapper's pretty rough on this one, to be honest. Can't do a lot with it. But it's not a fortune, it's only the book club edition, so it doesn't go for big money or anything like that. And like all my Star Wars stuff, I want to price it to sell. I want to move it. I don't want to be sat with it. I want it to shift off to new collectors. There we are, that's a bit better. I'm going to let that one still brew for a little bit longer. And we'll do the first of 3 pop-up books. Now, this is Star Wars, and I was delighted to see when I went through these, because I've made a little list of them, that the actual pop-up books are in pretty nice nick. I think one of them has got a damaged pop-up, but on the whole, they're really quite nice editions, and these are not easy to find in nice condition. So that one's actually pretty good. It doesn't really seem that dirty at all, so I'm lightly going to do it. The thing with pop-up books is they're very, very delicate. They're easily broken. They were predominantly aimed at children, not collectors, for starters, which makes them a little bit more susceptible to wear. And B, it's just cardboard engineering, really, and they just are vulnerable. that is the only way to describe it. But this one here, I gotta say, it looks really, really nice condition. I think I've done all right on this particular one. This is the first British one. I did actually have my mother round yesterday for Father's Day, and I said, "Do you remember buying me this one?" And she said, "Maybe vaguely." She said, "It's like, yeah, okay." I don't think she remembered. So here's the one for Empire Strikes Back. Same series, but this is, that first one was British. This is the American printing of it. And once again, this one's absolutely fine. Pop-up wise. Oh no, this was the one with the folded one. So this doesn't work right. So that's the only one of the three, because I got Jedi as well, which is a little bit not working as intended. But that's how these things go. I said I've got some loads of sort of larger format books and price guides and all sorts really, but I can only do it bit by bit really, you know. You just can't put it all up for sale at once. It's just too much, you know. There we are. Now we do the last one, which is of course Return of the Jedi. This one's fine. Most extravagant of them all. Put some sticker mark on the top there. Right, what was going on there then? There was a sticker in that top right corner, and although it's difficult to see, it left some marks. Yep, it's coming. There we are. Right, let's go back to the Empire Strikes Back. Let's try this top corner first of all, where the polish has been soaking. Seems to have done the trick there. So it's taken off quite a bit of it, but there's still a bit of stubborn sticker. So I'm going in with the old fingernail now, which has managed to peel off a little bit more. Pretty much the last bit of it by the look of it. But there's still some glue there, as you can see. So that's going to require a little bit more. So that's fine. So we'll pop that back on the pile for one last, I'll leave it over there for one last soaking session as we go on to the next one, The Adventures of Kibo. That's okay. Not actually too grubby, that. Don't think this is too much money. It's only Ewoks related, and that stuff doesn't tend to sell for huge amounts of money or anything like that. But it is part of the Star Wars story, so we have to treat it as such. And a couple of mini pop-ups now. Mini pops, they're called. Quite nice. Return of the Jedi ones. So again, really just sticker marks and general grubbiness on these. They've never ever been cleaned, probably since I picked them up. Yeah, it looks to me as if they had a sticker or something like that on there. And here's another one in the same series, the Ewoks Save the Day. This one's better condition. I should have done the top with the brush. There we are. That's okay. And one other one in this really small format, the Star Wars book about flight. Another one with a big sticker mark in the corner. So we've put our first little bit of polish on it. Don't want to go too mad on this because it's not like a laminated board. It's glossy, but it's not laminated, so you can easily overcook this. And it's in an area which is quite dark anyway, so it's still left some residue there. It hasn't really taken it off. But my worry is if I overdo it, it'll leave some white spots. So I think we're probably best leaving that as is. Let's go back to our copy of Empire Strikes Back again. I think that's probably as good as we're going to get, which was a lot better than what was there to begin with. But yeah, we'll leave that as is now. I think that one went in there. Oh. Okay. Okay, so this is a Belgian copy of Empire Strikes Back. Softback this time. I think that's all the hardbacks done now. So we are on to the softbacks. But we're going to do it the same way, and we'll just do it as we have been, cleaning them completely from start to finish as we've been going on. Now we have unfortunately got some real dogs to clean up, but not all of them. Some of them are very, very nice. So it's a bit of a mixture. So these Belgian ones, I mean, I just don't know where to start with regards to trying to actually price them. A very, very difficult thing to do. Very, very difficult. But I shall have to give it a try. it may just be that we, in the end, I stick them all up on eBay. And I don't particularly want to do that. I'd much rather sell through one of the Facebook groups, you know, directly to fans that way. This one's a Droid's quiz book. It's absolutely mint and unused, so we can't complain at that. Lovely. Another one, Star Wars word puzzles. Another one with sticker marks in the top corner here. But also one that you need to tread carefully. It's not a very thick cover. I'll have to leave it at that. This is probably the most recent thing, 1996 date book, and when you think about it, even this is almost 30 years old now, if you can ridiculously believe it. It's just like a little tabletop sort of week to view diary, I suppose, something you could call it that way. This is from the period when there was no Star Wars around. Just a few comics and a few books were getting published, a few novels. That was about it. That was your lot, wasn't it? Right, this is one of those tatty ones. Once again, I think it's a Dutch one. Not great shape, but too good to throw away, really, you know. Just because it's scarce, at least it's scarce in the UK. But something like this, I just put, you know, a couple of quid on, and hopefully it will go to a good home. You know, someone will be happy to have it. That's quite nice. The Dutch copy of Return of the Jedi. It's interesting. One of the reasons I've got so many foreign editions is because when I had my shop in the 90s, we would have a couple of guys come over and they would trade European Star Wars collectibles for English stuff. And it wasn't just Star Wars stuff, it was all books, it was records as well. So consequently, I got quite a nice run of foreign Star Wars records, albums and singles and stuff like that, which is quite cool. Here's a German one, Krieg to Stern. Of course, I keep slightly forgetting to do the top edges on these. Some of them are far worse than others. Did I do this one? Do it again for good luck. It's a French one. This is the first French paperback for Star Wars itself. Quite a groovy little one. I love the artwork. But that's completely different, isn't it, to regular releases. Very cool. Lovely. This is one through Empire magazine. It's brand new. Got a new introduction. Script to A New Hope. Once again, a mid-90s production. This one. Now we're going back in time. So I'm going to give these next three a the brush first of all. And I shall give these a brush as well, these ones, just so I don't forget. Right. So this was the original Star Wars adaptation. I haven't got rid of all my Star Wars A format paperbacks, so Star Wars got adapted by Marvel Comics, and they released the story of Star Wars, Empire and Jedi, in fact, all had comic book releases done for them, for the American and British comics, and they also put those releases into paperback form, so I've got those as well, you know. But these are the first British paperbacks, and they're very, very tatty. I'm just going to knock them out super cheap, just once again in the hope that someone might want them as fillers, rather than me throwing them away, which I really don't like to do, but they are quite the worst for wear. This is a bit better. This is the Splinter of the Mind's Eye. This was the first sort of spin-off, really, from the movies, aside from the American comics. And it's really good, actually. I remember enjoying all the Star Wars books at the time. I really, really did love them. I'm going to get myself a fresh bit of cloth here. Let's go around this side. Bit of a sticker mark on this copy of Empire. And although I collect movie tie-ins, and there is a slight tinge of sadness getting rid of these ones. And I did think, and I still might change my mind and just keep Star Wars, Empire and Jedi as part of my movie tie-in collection. Really, all the Star Wars stuff has to go, and I just can't. I haven't got room to keep it all. It's just as simple as that, really. Jedi. But they played a big part of my childhood. As soon as these books came out, it was the first way to find out the story of the film, really. So I read them, and I read them and read them. So from that point of view, they are quite important. But what can you do, eh? You quite simply can't keep it all. Okay, good stuff. Let's level this pile up a little bit. Now we've got about this much to do yet again. I'm afraid we haven't quite finished yet. So this next one is actually quite a collectible book. It may well be that this is the most expensive book that we'll see today. Value-wise, it's the Journal of a Making of Empire Strikes Back, and it is a particularly nice copy as well of it. Really quite bright. This one's probably about £30 worth, this one. It's got a tiny crease on there, but apart from that, really nice spine on it, unbroken. A little bit of glue there. Is it going to come off? Yeah, quite the rarity. It's like a tiny strand of glue. Which I think we just about got it off. There we are. Yeah, quite a rare one, that. Now we'll just do the hand. Actually, that wasn't the rarest one we'll see today. That's coming up in a minute. This is the Han Solo trilogy. Once again, quite the worse for wear, these, but it is the set of the three. They all got reprinted, but these were the original British printings of these. So I can't complain. That does actually look a lot better. These were really good books, sort of Han Solo and Chewbacca adventures before they met up with Luke. They were a really good sort of period. But yeah, these copies are quite the worse for wear, so they'll be cheap and cheerful. So this is the most expensive book that you'll see today. This is called The Force of Star Wars. And this is the one and only printing of it. And this was published by the Bible Voice. And it's basically looking at religious aspects of Star Wars in the film, in that first film, you know, looking at bits which could be conceived as religious in some way. It was authorized, if you can believe it. It's not like a bootleg or something like that. This was actually authorized because they get to use pictures. So I had a little look at this yesterday, and I got to admit, I was amazed. Absolutely amazed. So, yeah, scripture quotations not identified. Okay, that's not it. It says the author and publisher expresses appreciation to Charles Lippincott and to 20th Century Fox for supplying information and photographs for this book. There we are. There's some stills from Star Wars. It looks like it's the original lobby set to me. Yeah, so a very, very scarce Star Wars book indeed from back in the day. And that's, you know, upwards of £100, that one, if you could even find it. So I don't think that's initially what I'm going to put it up for sale for, is 100, because it is supremely scarce. Right. One of 3 Lando books that got published, and I've only got the one. Once again, all these books sort of got reprinted. Well, not the Force of Star Wars, but all these other books did get reprinted. This one's quite a low grader, but we won't hold it against him. This is another really great book. This is one of the very first sort of guides to the Star Wars universe. Absolutely fantastic when this came out. Obviously, there's much bigger and much more comprehensive encyclopedias around these days. But back in the day, this was the book, you know. It was as simple as that. And yeah, not a bad copy of that one either. And this was quite a bit of fun. The Jedi Masters quiz book. Now, it was by a chap called Rusty Miller. And apparently on one of the Star Wars forums, Rusty Miller did make an appearance. Someone said, where is he now, sort of thing. And he is, or was, certainly still around. And there's his cheeky face there on the back. Star Wars Intergalactic Passport. Once again, I couldn't believe that I can't find one of these anywhere. It's published by, or it was published by Ballantine. And this is the original, October 1983. I just can't see one has ever sold recently, which is making it really difficult to price some of this stuff up. The thing is, there's so many new Star Wars books about that the market is a little, flooded? Is that the right word for it? I don't know. So the last couple of books on their own. So we got the adaptation of THX 1138, which once again I may end up keeping this one because I like sort of 70s movie tie-ins, and I've got quite a collection of them. So I may end up keeping this and the Star Wars trilogy, to be honest, simply because they can stick as part of my movie tie-in collection. But this, this only got republished, reprinted in 1978 on the back of the popularity of Star Wars. It didn't have an adaptation rather, at the time that the film was released, which was like 1972 or something like that. It's not the greatest copy, but it's not one that turns up all the time. That needs a bit of soaking in. So while that's doing that, we've got this one here, which is a standalone French copy, like early 90s for Empire Strikes Back. And we've also got this box set, which is sealed, which got Star Wars 1, 2, 3, and then it's got Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. And this is a box set, and they mark that one as box set number 4. And this is sealed, but look at the top of it. It needs a real good... Let's get a clean bit of cloth here. Very, very dirty, that. It's just years and years, decades, in fact, 3 decades of dirt. Look at that. That is mad, isn't it? Ugh. This one better go in the wash after we're done today. But amazing to see it's still sealed, which is cool. And let's get this last bit of THX, shall we? See if we can get it off. Yeah, that did the trick. Yay. Yeah, I'm very tempted to keep this one. It's not a bad film, but you wouldn't want to watch it lots of times, would you? Thanks once again for watching today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage once a week cleaning action. And I'll be back next week with a penguin video, I promise. Till then, bye.